Okay. Testing, testing. Okay, looks like the volume's on. Just gonna give it a minute, see if anyone shows up. Morning, Anita. Nice to see you here. All right. All right. I guess we'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure hopefully some more people show up eventually. Maybe, don't know. Um so yeah, welcome to our next Disney watch on, which is for one of my personal favorites Disney classics from this era, and that being that being the 1953 classic Peter Pan, their 14th movie. Yeah, they're 14 because yeah, this is their yes, like you just said, their 14th film. And talk about a movie that went through a really rough production history. If I remember correctly, because if I remember correctly on the behind the scenes featurette, because I used to own the VHS of this movie that came with the 15-minute making of the film. I think they stated it took them 20 years to get this film off the ground. Um, um, because I think this film was meant to come out much earlier, but then the war broke out, and they had a lot of like financial issues and all that stuff. So and then they made all those package movies. So it took them a while to get this movie finally made. But so yeah, Return to Neverland, I'd say is one of the better. Well, okay, I was about to say straight to video sequels, but I have to remember that was one of the few of those sequels that was actually given a theatrical release. So, but okay, so enough dilly dallying. Let me just go in and put this on. Okay, let's see if it's connecting. Yeah, Jungle Book 2 was the other one. I do remember seeing Jungle Book 2 in theaters when it came out. Let's see, just getting it started. Hold on a second. All right. If everyone's ready, I got the film started. Okay, I guess BAMC got released in the country. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and press play. So if y'all ready, okay, hold on a second. Okay, hold on a second. All right, 3, 2, 1, play. All right. All right. There we go. Okay. Well, y'all can see the timer, right? Or the counter, whatever it's called. All right. The talents of Bobby Driscoll and Catherine Beaumont, Hans Conried, Billy Thompson. Billy Driscoll. What a very tragic story that is. Or Bobby Driscoll. Yeah. What a. Jonathan Brooke version of Second Star of the Right. I might have heard the version. I'm not sure. Isn't that one of the versions from like the Disney Mania soundtracks? Does anyone remember those? The Disney Mania CDs back in the day? London. Disney loves to make a lot of animated films set in London, don't they? Considering they would later do 101 Dalmatians and The Great Mouse Detective, all set in London. It's interesting they got Hans Conried to voice both Captain Hook and Mr. Darling. I mean, they would later do the same thing in the 2003 Peter Pan, the live action one where Jason Isaacs plays both Hook and Mr. Darling. I guess Jumanji did something similar where they got Jonathan Pryce to play both the father and Van Pelt. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, Heather Angel voice Alice's sister, who also voices Mrs. Darling. That's pretty neat. And if you're wondering, yes, I am aware that Catherine Beaumont voices both Alice and Wendy, and they pretty much use the same character model of Alice for Wendy. Even back then, Disney reused character models. I still have not seen Peter Pan and Wendy. I've watched reviews. I've seen Razorblades review, and yeah, it looks awful. It looks really bad. Honestly, it's funny because the 2003 Peter Pan wasn't even made by Disney, and yet it feels more like a better remake of the Disney classic than what Disney would eventually do 20 years later. Funny enough, too. God forbid if I do it. Well, I get the feeling I'm probably gonna have to do a watch alongs of the Disney remakes eventually, but that'll be interesting. But it's not something I'd be looking forward to. Yeah. I mean, even in the 2003 film, they still had Hook do the whole yelling for Smee thing when he gets attacked by the crocodile. So at least they remember to do that, unlike in what Disney would later do, where the crocodile barely has a role. Speaking of Hans Conried, did anyone ever watch? Okay, I'm assuming you all know How the Grinch Stole Christmas, right? Um, did anyone ever watch that really strange Halloween one they did, Halloween is Grinch Night? In that one, obviously Boris Karloff passed away, so they got Hans Conried to voice the Grinch in that special. Hans Conried was King Stefan. Okay, I guess I could kind of hear it. And one concussion later. Yeah, I always felt bad for Nana. I wonder how this film would have been like because if y'all ever watched the behind the scenes, Nana was originally meant to join the Darlings to their adventure in Neverland, but that was cut out. Been interesting what this film would have been like if they kept with that idea. But this is kind of a dumb thing to bring up. So in Return to Neverland, the sequel they do later this, Nana is in that film. So is that still the Nana from this movie, or is it just like I guess her a descendant, like her pups? Like, she had pups eventually, and it's you know what I mean? Because if it is Nana, man, she's old. Yeah, I kind of figure it was like a Nana 2.0 or something, like it's like a pup of hers. I don't know. It's just I haven't seen that movie in forever, so I just remember the movie takes place in World War II. So, which I guess that implies this first film takes place what, like 1920s, I guess. Don't know what you expect your mother to take for that information. Yeah, Michael is a good little kid. The mother does bring up a good point. Like, okay, I get you don't believe it's Peter Pan, but shouldn't you be a little concerned that someone was in your children's room? Just saying. I swear, you're like the parents from Child's Play 2 or something. I don't know. Just yeah, Nana's doing numbers of bricks of cubes. So I can't remember if this is true or not, but is it true they did base Tinkerbell's design on Marilyn Monroe? I've heard something like that, or at least there was some inspiration. Like I know back then Disney would like do rotoscoping, or at least they would get actors to act out the roles so they can model the characters after them. Also, speaking of Michael, didn't Michael Jackson state at one time that Peter Pan is one of his favorite movies? Yeah. Yeah, say what you will about some of Michael Jackson's later decisions, but he did give us some banger music. Yeah, Margaret Kelly. Okay. Because yeah, I remember the behind the scenes featurette, they did bring that up. Like the person they got they would model off of. Yeah. Oh, hey, Drew. Okay. Okay, I know we're a little early in the movie to bring this point up, but does anyone think it's a little strange that Tinkerbell, the character that Disney loves to like parade a lot, like she's the one that would introduce a lot of the like the Disney logo and all that. In this movie, she's kind of a little psychopath. Like, yeah, this is the character that would introduce the Disney. Like every time the Disney movie starts, when they show the Disney logo, she would appear, or that they would make a lot of straight to video movies centered around her. I just think it's kind of funny. Tink didn't like to hear that. Lou Divine Sagier. Not sure who that is, but yeah, for the 2003 movie. It's called Jealousy, Peter. I don't know how Michael confuses a fight. Well, okay, he's a little kid, so who knows? It's been a while since I've seen the 2003 movie, but I guess it makes sense that James Newton Howard would do the music for it. I will say this: I do remember liking the 2003 Peter Pan more than Steven Spielberg's Hook, which I know a lot of people love Hook, like it was a part of their childhood. I didn't really grow up with that movie like a lot of people did. I remember that movie being okay. Maybe not one of Spielberg's better films. So, okay, yeah, he did the music for Dinosaur Atlantis Treasure Planet. Yeah, yeah, he was definitely a big name when it came to the music of a lot of movies of that era. Yeah, fail. So, okay, this is another weird thing to bring up. Is Peter Pan an elf? Like the point years and all that? Because I know in some film adaptations of the classic story, they established that Peter was originally from like Earth, and but then I guess someone ended up in Neverland. I don't know. It's I'm thinking of Hook with that. Is that Peter's shadow? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. And of course, we got the movie's most iconic song, "You Can Fly," which is a which is a pretty good song all around. Not one of my personal favorite Disney songs, but you know. He just grabs Tinks and shakes her. You know, in all honesty, it's been forever since I've been to Disneyland, so I don't think I've ever been to Disney Dreams. There's Big Ben. We'll be seeing you again when we get to 101 Dalmatians and Grand Mouse Detective. Hmm. And we finally, yeah, 20 minutes into this, we finally meet Captain Hook and his crew. Yeah, Tinkerbell is definitely up there as one of Disney's most iconic characters. Yeah, say what you will. I know some people aren't fans of this Disney film because I don't know they find Peter Pan and Tinkerbell too unlikable protagonists, or the other elephant in the room we'll get to later in this film. But I think we can't. No matter what, I think we can't deny Captain Hook and Smee are the best parts of this film. Like Captain Hook is definitely up there as one of Disney's most hilarious villains. Yeah, Hades, Queen of Hearts, Yzma. I think. I mean, I have to agree with Doug Walker when he did his top 11 funniest Disney villains. He put Hades at number one. I mean, no argument there. Look, you can't. Well, okay, there's a different time period. So, also, he's the villain. Like, does it really matter? I'm not talking about his yeah, Mr. Smee is definitely one of the nicer Disney henchmen. I wasn't talking about his best Disney villains. I'm talking about the funniest Disney villains. That's a separate list he would do, most recently. Like his top 11 Disney villains, that's one of his much older videos. I was mentioning his newer list he did, where he was ranking which Disney villains are the funniest, not just the greatest in general. Also, did you just love that Kaizo just killed a guy just for playing his accordion? Miss when Disney used to make villains like this. And enter the crocodile. Yeah, I already mentioned that Smee is up there as one of the nicer henchmen, but I'd say Kronk is more so. If Hook is this afraid of a crocodile, imagine if you encountered a Dinosuchus, the prehistoric crocodile that ate dinosaurs that was like as large as a city bus. Yeah, I remember the fourth Lamport time they had Dill the Dinosuchus. What's left of your crew? What happened to some of your other crew? Yeah, the guy would have more than a heart attack. I don't understand how Smee from the Pirate Fairy. Okay. I don't know how Smee confuses a seagull's rump with Hook's face. What does that say? Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. You have to admit, Hook and Smee have probably the funniest hero henchman uh, you know, dynamic up there with Izuma and Kronk. And I guess you could throw in Prince John and Hiss as well. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if you shot a guy just for playing, too loud, I mean, yeah, I guess he would kill his crew over something so minute. Unless maybe the crocodile ate some of them. Who knows? Yeah, I guess Crow Deville and Jasper Horace have a pretty humorous dynamic too. That's a Disney film I can't wait to get to. And enter the Lost Boys. Okay, Tinka could have given that kid a concussion. I know Tink tries to commit homicide. It's again, I brought this up before, but why Disney? It's funny that Disney made her like one of their iconic characters, and yet in the original film she was a homicidal little bitch. Yeah, I've always been thrown off by that in Return to Neverland. When the first film, Cubby has a really thick, deep voice, and then in the later sequel, they got a child to voice him, which probably should have done in the first place. But you know, Kyle's mom from South Park. Yeah, but then again, never underestimate the jealousy of a woman. Careful, Tank. You could start a wildfire with that anger. Unlike the Queen from Snow White. Mm, don't know. Oh. Which, now that I think about it, does anyone think it's a little weird that Tink has this weird obsession of Peter? Like, how old is Tink supposed to be? Like, I guess she's a fairy, and I'm assuming they age differently than humans, but the Tigers from Neverland, the Jungle Book, I don't know what that's about. Like, she heard that last part, Pan? Yeah, busted. And enter another one of the iconic songs from this film, Following the Leader. It's a cute little song. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's where I remember the song the most is from one of the Sinalon VHS cassettes. Come to think of it, believe it or not, as a kid, like a little kid, I ended up watching the Disney Sinalon song VHS first more than I did most of the Disney films. I mean, Peter Pan comes off as being like a preteen, like early tens, I guess. I don't know, mid teens. I don't know. But with Tinkerbell being a fairy, who knows what that implies? I just remember the other version of Disney VHS. So, yeah, I get a lot of people harp on this movie because of the depiction of the Indians, or I'm sorry, Native Americans. I mean, look, maybe I'm not one to really talk. Yeah, I can see why this would be a favorite. That would be a favorite song for most people. Look, wait, yeah, I know it's the visual. Okay, the visuals. Yeah, most of the visuals. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Compared to other movies at the time that depicted Native Americans in a, I would argue, in a more offensive light. At least in this movie, they are the good guys. So I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Now here's the question: which Disney film do you think has the more racist depiction of Indians? This movie or Pocahontas? Is the question. I think some people argue this movie, but I mean, it's a film in the '50s that's based on a story from like what, the late 1800s or so. I mean, it was a different time, folks. I mean, yeah, we haven't got to the mermaids yet, but yeah, they did mermaids before the Little Mermaid, so okay, something I never understood. What makes the chief think that the Lost Boys took Tiger Lily? Like, is there a history between them or something? Like, did he not stop to think, oh, what about the pirates? Like, just saying. Like, yeah, I guess they're not that intelligent, which, yeah, that itself could come off as a little offensive. And into the mermaids. Yeah, I understand. It's just, you know, I guess this movie has a slightly more realistic depiction of mermaids compared to the Little Mermaid, since mermaids in most mythology are depicted as either troublemakers, very mischievous, or in worst case scenarios, they could they could be murderous like predators. I think that is the same act. The actor who voices the chief Indian. I think that is the same one does that Croc from Robin Hood and one of the goons that work for Maleficent. So they're admitting they were trying to murder her. Yeah, that's a good point. How are they supposed to bring back Tiger Lily if you have him tied up? It's yeah, Ariel and her sisters are way nicer than these mermaids. I didn't see Peter Pan and Wendy, but wasn't there something in that movie that Tiger Lily used magic? Something weird like that? Yeah, I guess in the Chiefs' defense, it's something they do often, so who knows? But
A rock that's literally shaped like a skull. Yeah, even Smee doesn't buy her. Yeah, I remember the 2003 film that it was Tiger Lily along with John and Michael that were captured by the pirates. But I'm talking in the Disney remake, Peter Pan Wendy, where they gave Tiger Lily magic to heal Peter Pan when he gets shot by Hook, and I don't know, that's weird. Black Castle. Everyone in Neverland is crazy. Yeah. Everyone's crazy in Neverland. I thought this was Neverland, not Wonderland. That was the last film we did. Yeah, Tiger Lily doesn't really say much in this film. I mean, well, okay, I only recall she only yells help, but that's about it. Okay, that's a creepy imagery there, seeing Hook's shadow. Peter Pan's really good with impressions. Yeah, it's pretty haunting. Although I gotta be honest with you, so I mentioned earlier that I grew up the VHS I had of this film came with that 15-minute long making of um at the end of the movie that goes behind the scenes of how the film was made. I just remember the part where they showed the storyboards of Skull Rock and all that. I just remember that scene creeped me out as a kid. If y'all seen that short, you know what I'm talking about. Much worse than the spooky was from Snow White. Yeah, pretty much. I guess Peter Pan is talented with a sword if he could fight Hook with a dainty little dagger like that. Hook really goes through a lot of his hats, doesn't he? Yeah, this movie does have a lot of good sword fights for an animated film from the 50s. It's and comes back to Crocodile. You know, sometimes you gotta feel really bad for Hook during these scenes where he's being attacked by the crocodile. And yes, this is their third film from the 50s, so which means we only have two more from this era after this movie. I just realized the sound effect they use for the crocodile snapping its jaws like that. Isn't that the same effect they would later use for Maleficent in her dragon form? Classic slapstick. Yeah, Hook got hit in the head by the oar, and then he gets his head smacked against the rock. Mm, jeez. Yeah, man. Jeez. Yeah, the scenes with the Hook and the crowd are just slapstick gold right there. It's just yeah, it feels like a classic cartoon like you'd see in Looney Tunes. I mean, yeah, that's what I've noticed. I noticed in some old Disney villain advertisements, TikTok is usually lumped with the Disney villains. Like I even in Mickey's House of Villains, he's singing the "It's Our House Now" song. So it is a little strange. And yeah, I don't get why in the second film they replaced the crocodile with an octopus. I guess it implies the crocodile died. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, this bit is pretty funny too. And now you just made his headache worse for me. Yeah, I know it's called it's our house now, so it's but I'm just saying because you'll see the crocodile in with the other villains singing the song, but it's weird they label it as a villain when it's trying to eat Hook. So pretty trippy. Yeah, yeah. I think maybe the water too hot to me. Respectful pirate. Yeah, sure, it's me. This here also shows Hook is a lot smarter than he might appear. Yeah, I never saw Jake and the Little Pirates, but I wouldn't be surprised if they showed the crocodile and the octopus. So I guess that show acknowledges Return to Neverland's existence. Hmm. And now we cut back to the Indians. Yeah, I guess you could argue Pocahontas is slightly more problematic, considering it's based on a very, very, very tragic story. When you know the actual story of Pocahontas, it's. But we'll get to that movie later on. So, yes, what makes the red man red? A song that, while it is catchy, I can see why some people might see it's a little questionable. Yeah, Hook is definitely the perfect combination of funny and menacing, which some of the modern Disney villains are lacking. Man, all the ladies are just wanting Pan. It's like whoever knew Peter was such a chick magnet. Yeah, Disney was definitely known for its controversy back then, but then again, it's not just Disney. A lot of movies and shows were like that. It was just a different era, when we depicted people like this as lesser. But at the same time, we shouldn't ban films like this because you're just getting rid of a part of our history. So we just have to acknowledge this stuff happened, and so we don't prevent stuff like this happening again. It's how you learn from history. It's You have to give credit for Smee for being so polite, even though he's working for the bad guys. So yeah, Tink doesn't seem to be buying it. Yeah, the mother-in-law bit is probably the more accurate part of the song. Similar to Kronk. Yeah. Hook, quite the emotional manipulator he is. Yeah. But I think that's why Hook's so intimidating too, is that how he's so good at manipulating people like this. He would do it again in the sequel, so That's something you won't see a modern Disney character do, drinking rum, even though it's like a pirate thing. Yeah, they call Hook a codfish, but he's being quite the eel, instead of snake. But right after the 40s from Disney, I no. Yeah, whoops. Hey, Wendy, you can't say that about Indians. So this scene always confused me as a kid, like when Michael is saying here. So is it implied that if they stay in Neverland too long, they'll forget about their real parents, or is it because they Nana Nana and Wendy take care of this so much that they forget who the real mother is? I mean, I don't know, one or the other. Yeah, never make deals with Hook when. Yeah, Tinker learned the hard way why you don't make deals with Hook because he'll always find ways to find the loopholes in his statements. And also back on the Disney remake, Peter Pan and Wendy. Yeah, from what I've seen in the reviews, I absolutely hated what they did to Wendy. Like, if you ever did like a list of which Disney characters have got a character assassinated the most in the remakes, Wendy would definitely be up there in the top five. This is quite a beautiful song too. I mean, Catherine Beaumont definitely has a beautiful singing voice. Well, if that is Catherine Beaumont doing the singing, I don't know if that is or not, but even the pirates are crying. I know, right? Like that feels like a dark element. Them forgetting who their real mother is. Like that's I don't. When people talk about dark Disney moments, I mean, okay, sure, maybe it's not as dark as some of their other moments, but the implications behind that you could argue is a little dark. Like Lost Boys clearly forget who their parents are, so which probably implies they've been here for so long. Yeah, okay, Baby Mine from Dumbo might be a little sadder. And you've all been captured. Yeah, pirate ambush. I mean, give Hook this. He doesn't break a promise. Yeah, pinky promise. Yeah, I know Disney would go on to make Pirates films, the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And I keep hearing they want to make another one, but we'll see how that turns out. 6 o'clock, so 6 in the morning then? Or six, whatever time they went. See, a Hook was trying to blow up a child. Again, Disney, Go back to making villains like this. Yeah, but it's Hook. He states that he hates children, so especially that you murdered our friend. So who knows how fast Tinkerbell is if she was fast enough to save Pan from being blown up. Yeah, I can tell that is the same actor who does the White Rabbit, who does Smee. Who knows what Hook put in that bomb? I mean, you could argue if Pan is developed as a character or not. I mean, I see. Yeah, where's the splash? There was supposed to be a splash. I guess that cannonball came in handy for Michael. I don't know if you guys are just like behind me or something because we're long past the splash. We're just at the part where Pan and Hook are on their final fight. Yeah, the crocodile seems happy. Yeah, I know. It's just I did get some editing for the Heroes with Villains done the other day. It's still gonna be a little bit of while until part one comes out. Well, who ever knew Cook could do a perfect split? And this is funny how it skips across the water. It's just life's just been very busy for me, and a lot of it is just procrastination. I just haven't had the drive lately to make content, but hopefully, I plan to get around to out sometime this year. And now the ship can fly. By the way, Scar never returned. I guess time doesn't really pass when you're in Neverland. like because they're back home. It's like time hasn't passed that much. Yeah, until the sequel. So does that imply that Mr. Darling once kind of believed in Neverland at some point, or at least I don't know. The end. A Walt Disney production. Okay.
So yeah, that was. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this one, and of course, our next Disney watch along will be Lady and the Tramp. But when we get to that, next watch along will be on M Night Shyamalan's next film, The Village, which I'll probably get around to sometime today. Don't know when. I mean, I don't have work today, so I got time, but I got things I want to try to get done. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed revisiting this timeless Disney classic, and I guess I'll see y'all in the next watch along. So I guess I'll see y'all then.